Welcome to our weekly Thursday live, 12 p.m. Central Time. We'll wait a few minutes while people hop on. So while we're waiting, in the comments, just let me know where you're calling from. And then I'm also curious what the weather's like. As you guys know, we had a couple snowfalls and now it's like 60, and I think it's going to be up to 70 degrees for a few days. So it's like a heat wave. It's very nice. And so, yeah, let me know where you're calling in from. Hope you're all doing well. I know it's kind of a wild week and tugging at people's emotions this week. Hopefully, you're taking your ashwagandha, which, if you don't know, ashwagandha is a really awesome adaptogen. Not the best fit for everybody, but it's just these adaptogens that are like these plants that help the body adapt to stress. I think we had a whole live on it actually. I'll wait a minute. That'll kind of be what I do every week, and then we'll go ahead and dive into the topic today, which is what eating plan, i.e., diet, is best for overall health. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So, of course, there's paleo and vegan and carnivore and vegetarian and ketogenic, and there's some like new ones that you probably never even heard of. I mean, we love our diets in this country, right? But really, what eating plan is the best. And what I want to share with you in particular is a summary of a lot of research that, all these different eating plans, there is research, well, not all of them, but there's not like one that has all this research of great health outcomes and other ones that have like no research. That's not how it works. So a lot of these, there's some, benefits, some not benefits. And so it really has to be personalized, but there are some things that are common ground to a lot of the ones that do have research showing they can be helpful. And that's just what I want to share today. Oh, awesome. Got in some golfing in Iowa, John. That's cool. So let me start out with the hunter-gatherer diets, because this is something that has had a lot of discussion around it lately, and I think you're going to be interested to hear what this hunter-gatherer diet was like in different areas of the U.S., because it really wasn't the same. It wasn't the same across the entire world. I said U.S., I meant world. And so when we look at the Inuits, they did eat mostly meat and fish and a small amount of fruits and vegetables. And what I've noticed, and so a lot of times when people say you don't eat like your ancestors, they think the Inuit, and most people are thinking, worldwide, this was kind of like this meat fish diet. But when we look at South America, like near the Amazon, they're eating about the same, but they also had roots, like root vegetables and things incorporated into their eating plan. And then the Kong in South Africa, they actually ate predominantly seeds and nuts, about 20% fruits and veggies, and then 10% meat and fish. So it was quite different. And then the Hadza in Africa, they were about 50% meat and fish, and then the rest fruit, veggies, and some roots. And if you're interested, just let me know in the group. I can share a little chart. So it just goes to show, even from the hunter-gatherer perspective, it wasn't a one-size-fits-all. And so in March of 2014, there's a public health study that Yale School of Public Health and their School of Medicine pulled together, where they looked at low carbohydrate eating plans, the low-fat vegetarian vegan. That was all lumped together, so I know it's not the same, but this is what was looked at in this kind of meta-analysis. The low glycemic Mediterranean, which has a lot of good support for health outcome wise, and then mixed balance in the Paleolithic. And so the health benefits related to, they kind of looked at all that. They looked at the compatible elements, and then they came together and they found that really food, not too much, mostly plants, is what these have in common. And if you've ever read Michael Pollan's books, or if you listen to him talk, this is what he encourages too: food, not too much, mostly plants. And of course, it's more complex than that. Of course, if somebody's having gut issues, we've had a lot of people come to our clinic, they're eating real whole foods and they're still having gut issues, because reality is, if there's dysbiosis, if the gut's not healthy, you could be reacting to some of those real whole foods. And so it's a slightly different story, but we're talking about just overall general preventative health. And we can say it a different way, as in a diet of minimally processed foods close to nature, predominantly plants, is decisively associated with health promotion and disease prevention. So what I like to say to kind of help it hit home for people is think about what your grandparents ate or what your great grandparents ate, or think about what you would find at a farmer's market where they're, pulling from local farmers. What's kind of silly about saying that now is some farmers markets, they're selling kind of this fried, lower quality food, unfortunately, but I think you know what I mean when I say that. And so there's also some research showing that when people were allowed to eat as much as they wanted of ultra processed food or unprocessed, the unprocessed group, despite not having limitations to amount they ate, they ended up losing weight about 2.2 pounds over 2 weeks, and the other one gained about 2.2 pounds. So it kind of aligns again with that whole real food, less processed. And so another example of, how personalization then can come in is if you might know about our mediator release testing, where we can actually test these what foods are triggering mediator release, and mediators are what can cause autoimmune symptoms. And so for some people, depending upon what's going on with their health, this can be really helpful in trying to figure out what those foods might be that are triggering those symptoms. And so even though it's all real whole foods, sometimes we do have to take it a step further. So just hopefully you followed that. Diets work at first, because it's, a change to people typically do eat better that whole real foods, but then they typically have trouble adhering to the rules and fall off. So there's a whole psychology component to this as well, which is what kind of caused me to fall into this intuitive eating world. And you've maybe listened to some of my talks about intuitive mindful eating, and it's just a layer I see on top of this where we're thinking about hunger versus appetite, why we're eating, food cravings, and all these other pieces, the psychology of eating. And so, as you know, we're having our Heal Your Gut courses launching over Thanksgiving, and there's going to be a whole section in that about intuitive eating, especially in relation to gut health and what is, that connection there. And so, overall, I'll just kind of sum up this live with saying, there's a lot of debate about what diet's better than what other diet, and just know that a lot of those really strong claims are exaggerated, and especially, and I've talked about this before, but if you think about it, it's pretty hard to do research on different diets because there's a lot of different variables that contribute to overall health, and you can't keep all these variables the same and only change one thing for long term. It's just really difficult because, exercise contributes to health, and how much nature you're getting, and stress, and, et cetera, et cetera. So overall, kind of what they wrapped up in this study is, we need less debate about what diet is good for health, and how much more attention directed at how best to move our culture, societies in the direction of the well-established theme of optimal eating. So that's key. And in the U.S., the life expectancy is lagging behind other developed countries, and health expectancy much more so. So I think it's really important that we start thinking about how to recreate this culture for a better theme of overall healthy eating, aligned with, what we just summed up. And so just to pull it together in our outro, thank you so much for watching. We again have our Heal Your Gut course coming up, and that we're going to include information about the Oswald Digestive Clinic Balance Plate, which aligns with what we just talked about, but takes it a step further. A lot more tools and resources to help you out, information about intuitive eating, and then it's going to walk into some elimination eating plans, protocols, because of course the whole purpose of the purpose of the course is at the start to the end that people can go through and notice significant improvement in bothersome gut issues, gas, bloat, diarrhea, constipation, pain, and things of that. And we also have at least 8 meal plans, might be able to get 16 weeks of meal plans in there for you as well. And so I will link below this video, as always, the free quiz, the link for our free meet and greet calls, and then if you're interested in the course, I'll link our wait list as well. If anybody has questions watching it live or watching on the replay, just shoot a comment. I'm always watching and replying to those throughout the week. And then I will post the voting for next week's topics tomorrow at 7 a.m. And we'll go live again same time next week, 12 p.m. Central Time on Thursday. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you more soon. Bye.